Cob is one of the most natural building materials, not just in this country but worldwide. It's been used for hundreds, probably thousands of years throughout the developing nations as much as in this country. There is a particular problem that has developed certainly in the last 30, 40 years, and particularly in the last 10 and 20 years, with the introduction and the use of cement renders to render over cob buildings. Some of the examples which you can see on the photographs are devastating. These buildings are damaged not simply because they are old, they're damaged because of the application of cement renders and non-breathable paints, which has dried the cob out to the point where it's actually had structural failure and collapsed. Cob needs to be a little damp, not wet, but a little damp, and then because it's essentially mud and straw, which is hand compacted and hand tamped in walls possibly a metre or so thick. And as long as it stays a little damp, it's fine and it will last. And there are plenty of historic cob buildings, not just in this country but worldwide, that have survived centuries simply by the fact that they're allowed to breathe. So what is the problem then with the application of the cement? Well, essentially the cement dries the cob out because the rainwater and dampness in humidity generally can't get to the soil, the clay, it's essential clay, and it therefore dries, and when it dries it shrinks and desiccates. And in the examples of the pictures which you can see, the major crack which you can see right now has occurred simply because the cob has dried out to the point where it has sheared. And in this particular example you can see here, it's been rendered twice. So the problem has actually got worse to the point where the render has not even stuck to its original render coating, let alone the wall. In this particular example you can see now, it's a render which has been applied to a cob wall. And that long section you can see leaning up against the wall was about 3 inches thick, 3 inches of solid concrete render on the wall. So it is of no surprise therefore that it has failed. And when it fails, the concrete comes off, the wall becomes damaged in the sense of it reverts back to its raw material of just loose fill. So lesson to be learned here then is that keep the cob slightly damp, keep using a lime render on it, not a cement, and use breathable paints such as mineral paints, or best thing is lime wash, and then hundreds of years will be allowed to elapse and the building will be absolutely fine.